Hi, I'm Brian LaRosa with LaRosa's Trains on Facebook, and today I want to demonstrate something that I have just recently installed on my layout. It's the new Lionel operating FasTrack section. For those of you who have not followed me on Facebook lately, last week I visited a special train place that not only sells model trains as an authorized dealer, but also has a little museum that exhibits lots of Lionel trains along with an operating train layout. It is called the Train Room, located in Hagerstown, Maryland. And what makes the train room even more elaborate is that it also exhibits some of Lionel's non-train related toy products, as well as some of the products needed to meet the demands of World War II at the time when Lionel had to stop making toy trains in order to support the U.S. military. So if you're interested in learning more about the train room, you can visit the website that has the address shown on the bottom of the screen. So I actually bought the operating track section right at the train room, so that I can use at least one of my cars that is actually operating. So let's get started. There are two main components on the operating track section. This component in the very middle is called the central magnet, and it is used to activate the couplers underneath the trucks on the freight cars, which has something like a thumbtack underneath it. And the other feature shown in this operating track section are these extra two rails called control rails, and they are used to control some freight cars that do not have a thumbtack like coupler, but rather has a special contact shoe that can only work on by using these rails. Now, all of this operation is controlled in this remote control, which is also included in the operating track section. There are two buttons that are on the controller. The first button is the uncoupling feature, and the other button is the unloading feature. Now, the uncoupling feature is used to run the central magnet. Now, even though the button says uncouple, it doesn't just uncouple the freight cars, but the central magnet can also activate some of the features and some of the actions that are found in operating cars, like my log car, which I'll demonstrate in a few minutes. Then the unloading feature is used to activate the control rails. Now, even though it says unload, the idea is the same. The control rails don't just make a freight car unload something, but it can also activate couplers on freight cars that do not have a thumbtack like coupler, but rather has a contact shoe. So that's simply how the operation works. Now, the reason I chose the Lionel FasTrack version, although MTH also made its own operating track section on their track systems, real tracks and scale tracks. Well, that's because it's a little bit easier for me, and as you may or may not know, I use the Lionel FasTrack as a conventional track, which is under the variable voltage on my DCS remote system. And if I set the voltage up to a certain number of volts on my DCS remote, it can power up the operating track, and then I could use the remote control traditionally to activate this track. For the MTH track, on the other hand, well, I think I'm guessing it's possible to use a separate remote control like this one onto the MTH track. However, a lot of people would like to operate the track section with the remote, like the DCS remote. And basically, with the DCS system, it requires another special device called the accessory interface unit, or AIU. So we can't just use the TIU, the track interface unit, but we also need the AIU to control accessories and switches on the track. But you'll notice that I do not have the AIU, because I wouldn't bother spending extra money on the AIU since I don't have a lot of accessories, and the operating track is currently the only operating accessory I have. So that's why I chose the FasTrack version, because I like to run it conventionally and then still use this classic remote control wired up to the operating track. Before I get to the demonstration in about a couple minutes, I want to show you the types of couplers shown in each of my rolling stock. This is the underside of my Lionel operating log loader, and you'll notice this is a traditional type of coupler when you operate the coupler with the operating track section. And notice the circular part is the thumbtack that I mentioned earlier. And if I activate, so if the magnet pulls the thumbtack, it actually throws the coupler like that. So now normally there's this one tab that you can uncouple by hand, but other than that, the thumbtack is used for the operating track to uncouple this car. Now, while I'm at the underside of this car, because this is an operating log car, when you unload commodities like logs, notice that there's another thing that looks like a thumbtack, And when the central magnet magnetizes this thumbtack, it will dump out the logs by tilting this unloading thing. And that's how the central magnet interacts with freight cars like this. Just want to briefly show you that not all O-gauge freight cars have a thumbtack kind coupler, and rather has something called a hidden uncoupling tab. And so I'm on the underside of the MTH Canadian grain hopper, and you'll notice that the uncoupling tab is hidden underneath the car, and that would give it a more realistic look, and you'll notice that there's no ugly looking thumbtack type under this truck. And there's this little tab that also reacts to the central magnet of the operating track. And when the central magnet magnetizes this tab, it throws the coupler like that. And so there's not much of a difference between whether it's thumbtack or not, because it's in the center of the truck, so that way the central magnet can magnetize the underside of the truck to activate the coupler. Okay, I got my layout powered up, but the Lionel track is actually not powered, because according to my DCS remote, there is no voltage on the track, and it literally says 0 volts. But as soon as I throttle up to 10 volts in my DCS remote, then I can operate this track section. So it should be noted that the operating track section needs 10 to 12 volts to be operated. So now I'm going to throttle up to 10 volts on the DCS remote. And now power is on to the Lionel track. I've actually initiated the voltage to 10 volts, by the way. So I can easily move directly from 0 to 10 volts. And so now it's ready to be operated. Now comes the fun part. The first thing I want to do is to uncouple the operating log car. And as I showed you earlier, it has the thumbtack underneath the truck, so that the central magnet can magnetize the thumbtack to uncouple the freight car. So I'm going to move it right under the central magnet. And as I said earlier, the uncoupling button is used to operate the central magnet. So I'm going to press this button to operate the coupler. So watch what happens. Now it's uncoupled. Let's do the same thing on the other side. To make sure that the thumbtack's in the right spot. And of course I press the same button to operate the other coupler. Like that. Pretty cool. The next thing I want to show you is to unload the commodities like these logs. And just like the thumbtacks for the couplers, there is also a thumbtack that's right in the middle of this car. I don't know if you can see it. I think I see the thumbtack in the very middle. And so when the central magnet magnetizes this thumbtack, then it will unload the commodities like these logs. Now, even though I want to unload the logs, I actually have to press the uncouple button, because like I said, it only functions the central magnet. So I'm going to press this button to unload the logs. So watch what happens. Like that. Pretty cool. The next feature I want to show you is the unloading feature. Now, as I said earlier, it only runs the control rails that activates the contact shoe like this one on the underside of a Santa Fe F3 diesel. Now I'm on the underside of a non-powered Santa Fe unit. Now, the powered unit over there also has the contact shoe. So basically, when you press the unload button, the control rails activate this contact shoe, which actually uncouples the coupler in this unit. So just like the uncoupling button, even though the button says unload, it literally controls the control rails. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use the non-powered unit, the non-powered Santa Fe post-war unit, to use the unload feature. Okay, I got 10 volts applied again on my DCS remote. And so I'm going to demonstrate the unloading feature to uncouple the coupler from this diesel. So on this remote, I use the unloading button to activate the control rails on the operating track section. So watch what happens when I press the unloading button, and watch the coupler throw. So here it goes. Like that. Pretty cool. I'm going to throw the coupler again. Like that. Pretty cool. Okay, that about wraps up for this review, and this would be a great product to make even more fun on your layout, so that you can unload commodities like the logs or even coal, and that would create even more fun. So if you're new to the hobby, I remember on a lot of the older Lionel catalogs, Lionel offers ready-to-run sets along with expansion packs that consist of an operating track section like this one, some extra track, and some extra cars to expand the train. Now, I don't know if Lionel's still going to offer expansion packs with the ready-to-run sets in the latest catalog. If you have a question, just write me a comment and I will respond. So anyway, that's it for now. I'm Brian LaRosa, and I'll see you next time.